You smell that?
Nature's most powerful aphrodisiac.
Leaving right after this drink. Rock and roll, whiskey, and other stories. With your host, Brian Shaw.
Cheers. And welcome to episode 19 of I'm Leaving Right After This Drink, Rock and Roll, Whiskey, and Other Stories. So before we get into tonight's topic, just want to make sure that for those of you who don't know already, or you've never seen this, or you're just tuning in, let me just give you a quick synopsis of what this channel is all about, which is pretty simple. I spent about 15, 16, 18 years in the music industry as well as television, and just kind of talking about some different folks that I met along the way, both good and bad. And on top of that, we're also just talking about just shit that happens in just everyday life and things that have happened to me in the recent past or whatever it may be. We're just kind of winging it, as they say here. So, and it's all done in one take, man. No edits, no cuts, no, oh, I fucked up, let's try it again. Nope. We're just winging it right all the way through. So, of course, there's going to be some hiccups and things like that along the way, but that's okay because that's why we have alcohol. So as I get into tonight's episode, it has been officially 1 year since I launched this podcast, which has been awesome. The reaction has been great so far. I love it. Thank you guys for liking and subscribing and doing all that stuff, commenting on the videos and things like that, man. It is greatly appreciated. You guys can, of course, there's a link to buy some t-shirts and whatnot in the link here below on the video. What else is there? That's kind of it as we get into tonight's episode. And tonight I'm just kind of randomly talk about things on television. And it's very weird for me because I don't watch a lot of TV. But when I do watch television, it's either a good documentary, a lot of true crime, and some of that shit that's on like Investigation ID. Have you guys watched this show, Fear Thy Neighbor? Have you guys ever seen this shit? It's so fucking crazy. And I guess that's why I really enjoy this show. Like, I don't understand the concept of living next to someone that you hate them so much that you want to shoot them and kill them. Now, I would like to think that that's a pretty rare thing, but no, it isn't. They've made like 12 seasons of this show, which even if you take an average of 10 episodes, that's 120 times that this has happened where a neighbor hates another neighbor so bad that instead of moving, they would rather just shoot them and kill them. What? Yeah, exactly. I don't really understand it, but I also consider myself to be a pretty sane, normal guy. Along with some of these true crime shows that you watch, these people will get on TV and they're looking right at the camera. They're not blacked out. They're not silhouetted, none of that stuff. And they say, we're not going to use their real name. Why? You're on TV. Is somebody literally sitting there? Or in the same case, some people will go, don't use my real name. Like, I'm not quite sure I understand this. I don't understand this way of thinking of, am I watching this and I might recognize that person and I go, that really looks like Joe, but you know what? It can't be. It says his name is Bill. Or there's nobody there. They're like, there's no name there. And you go, man, that sure does look like that guy. Nah, it can't be, man. They're not using his real name or his last name or something. Like, I don't understand this, and I have never understood it. And that includes just like people that go on TV for interviews, like just whatever. And it's just so random to me. Like, what the fuck is the point of that? I don't know. Now, I also said, these are just kind of a couple things that kind of popped up in true crime and things like that that I watch. And I watched the Superman documentary recently on HBO. Totally, obviously not true crime. It is Super/Man, the story about Christopher Reeve. Have you watched this yet? Like, I thought this was going to be like this cool movie on Christopher Reeve, and it was going to kind of be a typical like documentary style movie. We're going to talk about like him growing up, getting into acting, whatever. And then we would talk about his, equestrian accident and breaking his neck and all that stuff. And that's kind of how the story would tail out. Oh, no, 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 no. Definitely not the case. So spoiler alert, if you guys are interested in watching this documentary, you should definitely X out of watching the rest of this episode until you watch this. But I would never encourage anyone to not watch this incredible podcast that we're doing. So anyhow, Superman, the story of Christopher Reeve. Now, first of all, I have to say that, in my opinion, Christopher Reeve was the greatest Superman that they ever put on television. Like, he was the guy when it came out. He was the man, and when I was a kid, that was Superman. And I have seen a couple of them since over the years. There was one, like quite a few years ago where the guy was pretty good. And but for the most part, dude, it's Christopher Reeve all the way. But now, how does this documentary roll out? Oh, no, 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 no. We're like literally 35 seconds into this documentary, and boom, we're talking about Christopher Reeve and the accident that he's had and how he's broke his... And I'm like, Jesus, are you kidding me? Like, already we are... What? Like, it was... I'm like, within 5 minutes, I'm like, this is totally not what I was expecting. But I was also like, dude, give me some fucking tissues. Like, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it through this thing without crying. Like, it was crazy. Like, I'm literally 5 minutes into this thing at this point, and I'm going, dude, like, this is not what I was expecting. This is certainly not the movie that I was hoping it was going to be. And yet, I couldn't turn it off. And no matter how depressed I got watching this thing, I couldn't turn the damn thing off. Literally, stop. Like, I was watching it on my computer, boom, right there. Just turn it off. Just X out. No, I couldn't. I could not X out of this documentary. It was the craziest thing I had ever seen. Like, because it was just like watching a bad car accident, a train wreck, whatever you want to call it. That is what was happening right before my eyes. And yet they would lure me in. They would talk to his kids, and they had all this amazing footage of him telling stories and stuff. And I'm like, I cannot turn it off. And yet the whole time I'm like, I'm not going to cry. Nope. I am not going to fucking cry. I can't cry. No, I'm not going to do it. But yet, I didn't cry. But let me tell you, I was this fucking close the whole movie. Like, moments every time. And I'll tell you this, if you watch this thing with anyone, and I don't care who it is, I don't care if you've been like dating this person, if you've been married to this person, no matter what the case is, if you do not see that other person at least tear up, my advice to you is run. Get the fuck out of your relationship or whatever friendship, or whatever it may be, because that person is definitely a fucking serial killer. Because I'm telling you, man, it's that gut-wrenching of a documentary, but yet it's fan-fucking-tastic. Yeah, exactly. I said it. I don't know where I'm at. I'm confused. I'm obviously all over the place because I started out talking about true crime and serial killers, and I kind of wrapped it up by saying that your significant other could be a serial killer if they don't at least get watery eyes, for crying out loud, watching this documentary. It was unfucking believable. And yes, I also know it has been noted to me, it has been emailed to me, it has been texted to me, it has been, I think, probably even commented on about the amount of times that I use the F word in the podcast. And I think what I should start doing is maybe putting like a F word counter somewhere on the screen here. Excuse me. But why? Like, you guys know me. For those of you who don't know me, well, then you definitely know that I like to use the F word a lot. And for those of you that do know me, you should know better. That, yes, I am going to use the F word. And I am going to drop the F-bomb just like I did. What'd I say? Unfucking believable. Abso-fucking-lutely. Like, I can throw it in the middle of words, spice it up a little bit, or I can just use it just in general terms, like, fuck you. But I do kind of like the F word counter, like down on the bottom of the screen somewhere. I think I might have to add that maybe to the next episode of I'm leaving right after this drink, rock and roll, whiskey, and other stories. And you know what? Tonight, fuck it. We're just going to keep it short and to the point. So if you guys watch some crazy like true crime or some crazy, documentaries or cool series, or something like that, man, by all means, let me know in the comments because I'm always looking for shit like this. And as I explained so many times, because I know people probably think I'm a little fucking crazy for watching all these true crime shows, like Dateline, 48 Hours, 2020, like I said, the investigation ID shit. Like the reason why I watch it, it's just mindless stuff. Like you can do anything else throughout the day or whatever you're doing at your home. Like you can do your laundry, you can clean house, you can work, you can do whatever. Because here's all you have to see of these shows. You have to see the first few minutes where they tell you the crime that happened and how it was done. And then you have to see the end, which is how did they catch the person that they finally did. Now, if you watch enough of these like myself, you'll also know that whoever they're not interviewing is most likely the killer. So if a wife is dead, they're not interviewing the husband, most likely probably the husband. It's just kind of throwing it out there. And I'll tell you, man, there's a lot more to touch base on some of these things because I've watched a couple this past week where the jury just goes, well, somebody's got to pay for it. We can't really definitely say he did it, but we should probably throw him in fucking jail for the rest of his life anyway. It's fucking crazy, man. Some of this shit is just so fucking wild. And I know people that won't even watch it because it just makes them mad because they're like, how could they convict this person or whatever? So anyhow, man, I'm always interested in kind of watching some new shit like that. And so if you guys, like I said, if you have something, feel free, drop it in the comments or by all means, text me or send me an email with that show title in it. And I'll put my email up on the screen so you guys can email me for those of you who don't necessarily know me. And I'm not even sure who that is that's watching this podcast because the 10 people that I know are usually the 10 people that watch the show. Anyhow, we're going to wrap it up. Again, thank you guys for liking and subscribing and sending out your show ideas and things like that. And we're going to keep them coming. We have reached the 1 year point. We are at episode 19. I'm stoked. There's a lot of stuff that I'm going to talk about as we move into what are we going into? We're going into March already. Holy shit. Yeah, can you believe it? Like we're halfway through February at the recording of this. And so it's like, Valentine's Day, or as my friend Tits McGee puts it, the day for suckers. So anyhow, there you have it. There you are. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. I'm leaving right after this drink. Rock and roll, whiskey, and other stories. I did it again. If you guys watched the previous episode, it's like, why did I do it again? Like again, it's that whole radio habit coming back, and I really don't like that, even though I love my time in radio, but it's just fucking weird. Did it again. Drop the F-bomb one more time. We'll see what the total count is when I go to post this. Cheers. Oh, man. So good. Thank you, Jack Daniels.
Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe. You dig?
God bless the internet.